All right, everyone, now it's time to talk about the Robbie Mook testimony we got the other day, pertinent to the Durham probe and the looking into Sussman. Now, here's the good, bad, and the ugly. The good thing, of course, is that this directly implicates the Clinton campaign as handing off fake dossier material, the Russiagate hoax material, to the media. So this was done. The problem is this, with taking the Mook testimony and expecting fireworks to erupt. It's being kind of misconstrued. This particular aspect of this probe, with Mook's testimony here, deals with Sussman and effectively simply whether or not he was acting as the Clintons' lawyer or a private citizen when he fronted material to the FBI that was known by the campaign to be fake. They're looking into that. We already knew that the Clinton camp gave it to reporters. Where else did it come from? Did it fall out of the sky somewhere? The Clintons will face no repercussions for their role in this, despite the fact that they are centrally legally responsible. That's because the law is like a spider's web. The fly gets caught, the wasp goes free. I've uttered that phrase before. The Clintons are definitely wasps. They have money and political connections. Also, they're ancient as fuck, so at this point, prosecuting them would be a moot point almost. Robbie Mook's testimony is interesting, in the sense that this banking scandal is an Alfie Bank or something, is a Moscow-based bank, Alpha Bank actually, ALFA by the way. They were claiming that the Russian bank and the Trump campaign were pinging one another and that this was suspicious and, well, we got to get this to the FBI. We're doing our civic duty. The problem is this is part of the larger Russiagate hoax that was known to be false. And it shouldn't surprise us that the Clinton camp created like the fake dossier in which the initial Christopher Steele making it was effectively just feeding crap to the legacy media and then harvesting the articles, which were speculative in the first place, and then compiling them in order to front it to the FBI as part of this opposition research. The goal appears to have effectively been to put it out in the media as a hit against Trump. It reminds me of when the Clintons designed the concept that Obama was born in Kenya and that he was a Muslim. That came from the Clinton staffers. When they try to throw a couple of mid-level staffers under the bus and say it was entirely their idea, I'm hazarding a guess it came from a little bit higher up. But you'll never know that. The Clintons covered it up well. They did not cover up their tracks quite so well with regards to the Russiagate Steele dossier hoax material. The problem is that it got taken seriously enough that it got fed to the FISA courts and also triggered an FBI investigation, hence why we are seeing these legal cases now. The probe has found evidence, corroboration, of the sleaziness, the corruption of the Clinton crime syndicate. But they use middlemen. Vince Foster, you think that he actually managed to shoot himself in the back of the head several times? I'm thinking that probably wasn't actually a suicide. Epstein, by the way, didn't kill himself either. Ghislaine Maxwell now has been totally forgotten. Again, the legacy media works and colludes with these people all of the time. You know what they want you to know if you don't dig any further and do any independent sourcing whatsoever. Or if you watch me, then you'll know what's going on. But I can't cover every friggin' news story, so you'll need a plethora of content creators. Just be careful who you're subscribed to. But the testimony will not impact the Clintons. Again, to be clear, this is a narrow scope sort of view that Durham's probe is taking at the moment, and it involves Sussman. It involves him lying about whether he was Clinton's lawyer when he sent the material to the FBI. You then have the same material being given initially to Slate. And the whole point, and it's admitted to here, it's spoken of openly, and this should surprise people, the whole point was, well, we didn't think that the public would get to know about this if it was just given to the FBI. So you took material that was potentially part of a criminal probe, or at least a legal probe in general, pertinent, interesting enough to the FBI to get sent up to the FISA court. Rosenstein himself signs off on it, claims that he didn't read it first, possibly, and triggers an investigation of an active presidential campaign. But you decided it was a good idea to put it out in the public for fact-checking. Well, we wanted the journalists to be able to research this more. Well, you didn't have a clue whether this material was real. It just got grabbed up by the FBI anyway. A casual view of it would have told you it was spurious because it never made any sense to begin with. When we're looking, though, at this probe, In the end, Sussman gets grilled. Some other people get thrown under the bus. The Clinton crime family goes on its merry way. They face no repercussions. If there were ever going to be repercussions for the Clintons violating the law, it would have been Clinton's private server that she stored in a closet next to her bathroom that contained classified materials on it completely improperly. The FBI declined to bring charges against her after being, Comey was threatened effectively by the head of the DOJ at the time. That is what happened. The tarmac meeting was not about Chelsea Clinton's wedding or anything like that. They leaned on the FBI. And Comey, to his credit, and for what that's worth, came out and effectively insinuated to the U.S. public that shenanigans had gone on and simply said they weren't going to bring forth any criminal proceedings. Well, she didn't act with malice. For the first time in the existence of our alphabet soup agency, we're going to look at the motive of the individual rather than the fact that the crime actually objectively occurred. And we've determined that it occurred, but it's not really that bad. We can't prove that the Russians got a hold of any of the classified intel. Meanwhile, we have to take very, very seriously this dossier compiled by a British intel agent and fed through several extremely partisan channels in the FBI while simultaneously getting handed to the legacy media. It's not like it's improprietous in any manner that something that's evidence potentially in an investigation into a presidential campaign involving potential treason should subsequently be given to Slate magazine. That's not strange at all. In the end, that's what they will find. They won't look any higher than Sussman and people like that. They might make an insinuation, because remember, the establishment doesn't want Clinton to run again, so they may try to kneecap her that way. They're probably going to try to do that with the age question if Biden stands down. That's my prediction. They'll add this to it. It helps to prevent evil Hillary Clinton from becoming maybe the Dem nominee, although I think she would like to run again. I think Kenkels probably is done politically. But it's not going to cause prosecution. Nobody's going to force Hillary Clinton to come before Congress or something to answer for her various high crimes, because it's never happened before. Look at the history of the Clintons and how many crimes and dubious dealings they've been involved in. Cattle futures and Filegate, trying to steal shit from the White House when they were leaving, pardoning a bunch of mafiosos in the 11th hour of Bill Clinton's, the end of his second term. All of these things, the private email server, Russiagate hoax. It's just another in a long line of ways in which the Clintons have violated protocol and law alike, and they've gotten away with it. That's about all. Peace out.